And we are live, guys! Hi and welcome to the Men of High Value channel, your channel for understanding the woman and the world of relationships. My name is Joseph Darling, and today we will be stating the obvious about questions. Remember that we are live here every single day at 7 AM Oslo, Norway time, and as always, smash the likes, subscribe, and let's just get right into it. Stating the obvious can get you into trouble. Stating the obvious is something that could be a dangerous thing to do. In old times, stating the obvious against rulers of countries or religions could mean that you would be cast out, imprisoned, or perhaps even worse, be punished to an early death. Even today, there are some places around the world that has not come far when it comes to freedom of speech, which is another way of saying freedom of questions. Yet it is completely necessary for growth and learning. And isn't that why we're here? To learn and to grow? It's like children. If you have at any point spent time with children old enough to communicate, you'll notice that they ask a lot of questions. No wonder why they're learning at the speed of light. Those who ask the most questions grow the fastest. And it's not because their questions are really good. Not at all, actually. In some ways, this is what makes spending time with kids so much fun. Kids say the darnest things. But it is the simple fact that every day, as long as they keep asking them, their questions become better, more specific, more to the point about the topic at hand. The more questions you ask, the better and the more specific your questions and answers become. Why are children such powerful learners? It's because they are not afraid to ask the questions, yet. They're not afraid of failure, of being scolded or for asking those questions, yet. They don't come into this world being afraid to ask. It is the environment around them that instills that fear within them. Thomas Edison, the great inventor of the light bulb, gave us an important lesson about failure. I didn't fail, I just found 10,000 ways that won't work. Failure is fantastic. Failure is great because it is on the other side of failure that we find success. The problem comes from feeling like a failure and thereby giving up on asking questions. Thomas Edison became successful because he asked a lot of questions. What if he had been raised in an environment where questions were not welcome? Fortunately, he had a mother who homeschooled him and created an environment where any and all questions were encouraged and he was allowed to ask as many as he would like. And he became part of shaping the history of the world. Had he given up, he would have been deemed a failure and the world itself would be a pretty dark place to be. This is why there's no such thing as a bad question. Because the fact that you're asking a question proves that you're actually willing to learn and drawing closer to the truth. Because you know the cool thing about questions? You always find the answers. Always. There's always a solution. And sometimes it is staring you right in the face. Imagine if we did the opposite of what Thomas Edison's mother did to him. We stifle freedom of questions, speech, and growth with, "You should not be asking that question," or "That question was bad," or "totally inappropriate," or even worse, we make fun of them for asking that question. How would that make them feel? They would feel like failures, and they would socially feel out of place. And if they would keep getting those reactions from people around them, they would eventually live their lives in fear of what other people think. And this in turn would stifle their learning and growth curve. They would end up asking less and less questions, perhaps even to the point of where they choose to not be interested in learning anything at all anymore. And this would make planet Earth a dangerous place to be. The moment we stop asking questions, we are destined to an early grave. We have made a decision, however unconscious it was, that there's nothing more to learn, we have learned it all, and our cup is full. Research shows that this is what happens to people that retire. They die earlier because they stop asking questions, they stop learning. Is that your destination? Have you stopped asking questions? Have you settled for the status quo and given up on understanding the woman and the world around you? I'm reminding you now here to ask something important. Yeah, but What do questions and answers and freedom of speech have to do with understanding the woman? That's a great question. Because if we enter the world of men and women, the topic of masculinity and femininity, it is so easy to be politically incorrect. Stating the obvious hits us home so hard that it can be painful. It requires soul-searching and change. It might also require unlearning what we have believed to be true in the past. Stating the obvious. That is what we're doing on the Men of High Value channel. I will do my best to state the obvious. I will do my best to state the way things are. And though I will strive to say things tactfully, wisely, and so simple that even a child can understand, I will make mistakes. And the fact that we're live every time doesn't help either. But failure is good. It's on the opposite side of failure that we will find success. But that is what we have to do if we want good relationships. So if you have any questions that you would like to share, then use the contact form of menofhighvalue.com, and though I can't promise anything, perhaps we can answer some of these questions one of these days, sometime soon. My name is Joseph Darling, and this is the Men of High Value channel, and I will see you again tomorrow.